My ability to perform well in discus is disrupted by my biomechanical imbalance. My main fault is my angle of discus when it releases my hand. Then it would be my poor technique by throwing it out the back of my hand. And lastly, my spin, which does not have much build up, causing it to be quite slow, meaning I cannot build up momentum, causing the discus to travel a small distance. All these things I have analyzed through Dartfish 7. Now, what is biomechanics? Biomechanics is the sports science field that applies the laws of mechanics and physics to human performance in order to gain a greater understanding of performance in athletic events through modeling, simulation, and measurement. Two aspects that let me down. My technique was the main part that let me down, as if you do not have good technique, you cannot throw the discus very far. Because I didn't have good technique, obviously, I couldn't throw it very far. The problem with my technique is that I was not building up enough speed and momentum, so then I wasn't able to launch the discus out of my hand at the end of the spin. Instead, I took my time with the spin, going very slow and sluggish, and at the end, I didn't have any power that I could use to throw the discus. The next fault that let me down was my angle of release. Now, this was not a problem every time I threw it, but it definitely came back to disrupt my throw immensely for the majority of throws. The angle of release is important, as a flat throw will go considerably further than a throw that has the base of the discus facing forward, because of aerodynamics and wind resistance. Analysis of my throw. During my throw, I have poor spinning speed, causing me not to have much power at the end when I actually throw the discus. Because I don't spin very fast when I go to throw the discus, I can't build up enough momentum to launch the discus out of my hand. My final flaw is that I have poor technique by throwing the discus out of the middle fingers instead of my front finger. Not everything about my throw is horrible though. I do actually have a decent release angle most of the time, but although I do have a decently consistent release angle, I can't capitalize on it, as I don't have enough speed or momentum to get the distance to travel a long distance. Newton's second law of motion can be formally stated as follows. The acceleration of an object as produced by a net force is directly proportional to the magnitude of the net force, in the same direction as the net force and inversely proportional to the mass of the object. Analysis of expert's throw. He starts off with very good speed, building up his speed and momentum very fast. He then plants his foot behind him and spins at probably twice the speed I spin, creating even larger momentum and speed. He then swings his arm from low to high and releases the discus using perfect technique as it rolls off his front finger. Comparison of the expert's throw and my throw. To start with, the expert and I have very similar release angles, but although they are close, he can still probably double my distance, as he builds up so much momentum and speed during his spin, whereas I am slow to spin around and throw it. Even though our angles are close, his is still better than mine by being just that little bit higher to get more distance on the throw. His technique is picture perfect from the moment he drops his foot back to the moment the discus hits the ground, whereas I just run up and throw the discus, then stand there and watch it. But the expert is still spinning around, keeping his momentum going even after the discus has left his hand. During my training this term, I created a training program every week. The main exercises I had in the training program are as follows. Suicides to warm the body up, static stretching to reduce risks of cramps, shoulder press and bicep curls to improve arm strength to help throw the discus further, and technique throws with 1 kilogram discus. All these exercises were thought out and picked out for a reason to help with my discus throw. I feel like the training program did actually help me with getting better distance on my discus throws. How have I improved? I have improved the distance I can throw a discus. I think because of my training program. But I also reckon that I should have put more technique drills into the training program, as that would have helped considerably. I have also improved on building up momentum. At the start, I was just taking a step in and throwing it. Now I have learnt how to do the spin, and I am much better at discus because of it.